I got a piece of burl on my lathe. It's the first time I've turned burl, and I put some epoxy with coloring in it
Yeah.
in the voids, and I just went out and checked it because I had put the epoxy on the inside where where the bug holes had come through, seal them up. But I put 3 coats of polycrylic on the outside because I like shiny. I know, Danny, you don't like shiny that all that much, but I got some brush marks in it. Can I buff them out? Do you think? Uh, because I've had a bad experience one time before trying to buff out polycrylic, but I'm not sure if it was too wasn't cured enough when I tried buffing it. Have you had any experience with that? Buffing
I'm I,
polycrylic?
I don't have any experience with
Acrylic?
polycrylic.
Yeah.
Anybody
Acrylics are
else?
the acrylics are real sensitive to heat, so if you buff it, don't be do it in stages, a little at a time. No, don't put a lot of pressure on it because it doesn't like heat. It'll
Yeah.
melt it. Acrylics,
So,
when you buff them, will melt if you get them too warm.
How
so
about how about
is polycrylic like the typical resins?
Right. Yep. It's a
Yeah.
resin based formula.
Okay,
it's
right on. So I would for buffing. So when I buff resins or acrylics, I don't go any higher than 1200 RPMs on the lathe,
okay?
and then it's light pressure, very light pressure.
So I have
And,
So I don't know if that would help or not.
and is that's with like a 5-inch wheel or something, Dane? Like those 5-inch pads, 6-inch?
Yeah, it's probably I don't know 5 6 inches. Yeah,
Yeah.
no more than six. Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't buff over 750 RPMs. Period. I mean, even when you buff a car, they do it with a low speed buff. They're a grinder, but they're a low speed grinder. Basically, they don't go over 700 RPM. Most of them don't go over 750,
I have that
700
BO
and 750.
I have that BO buffing system, and it has 8-inch wheels, and it says using it like 1700
Yeah,
RPMs.
that's way too fast.
Yeah, I think like I said, I
No,
wouldn't go
guys.
over 1200.
That's
So
what
so
Bill recommends is 14, 1500 on them. But you don't
14.
want to be buffing, finishes that are thick. And it works on the
Yeah.
boot system. I'm going with you, Stephen. No problem.
Well, I guess I'd use
Mine's
light
not a
pressure
mine's
then.
not a Beal wheel either, so I don't know if there's
Yeah,
a difference in the Beal wheel compared to
they and maybe they're
whatever
softer.
wheels I got,
They're a real
whatever
fine
wheels I got
cloth,
from
very
Slade.
fine cloth. Yeah.
They're
So
real
how
soft cotton.
Yeah. But it like sometimes I buff a finish, like a lacquer finish. Now, if you put about 6 coats of lacquer on there and buff it with it, you're going to burn the lacquer. But
Right.
if you put some sealing coats on there, it'll shine like a silver dollar.
Right. And that might be what's wrong with this polyacrylic, that it's too thick.
Yeah.
He's melting it or burning it.
I think I melted it the last time I tried it because I had to turn it off. It looked horrible.
So try wet sanding your scratches out and then buff it.
Well, that's what I was going to start saying. You can go up, you can get that, I forget what it's called, Scott. You go up to 12,000 grit and you water sand it. You go from like 3,000 all the way to 12,000 with water.
Yeah, it's micro pads.
Micro pads, yeah.
But you can do the same thing with wet dry sandpaper that they use in the automotive world. That goes all the way to like 20,000 or something.
And then that Hunt's glossy ultra shine, plastic ultra shine. Put that on there, and man, it's unbelievable what it'll do.
What's it called, Hunts?
It's Hunt's ultra shine, glossy ultra shine for plastic.
Okay.
Hunt's is a brand. I even have used that on CA to make it pop on the end.
So I use this stuff. It comes in the automotive world. This is McGuire's 105.
Yeah, I've used that too.
It's a buffing paste. But Daniel Smith, that's on here once in a while, told me to start using this stuff. It's made by McGuire's. It's called plastic.
Yep,
It's way better than the 105. It
I believe it.
really shines.
Mhm.
I don't even use the micro mesh pads anymore. I just go straight to this.
How do you put that on?
You use it on a cotton rag.
Yeah.
I use my finger when I do ink pens or bowls that are non-burl. I just use my fingers when I put on McGuire's.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing softer. As long as you didn't your
Mhm.
fingers put on CA. Then you'll
Do
be
you keep
toast.
the RP down?
No.
So I buff in the chuck and I just take a soft cotton rag, what I really like to use is old baby diapers, the old fashioned baby diapers that they used to have.
Mhm.
Snappers.
Cloth diapers, yep. They work.
All right, I'm gonna go do the
All right, Dane. But this stuff is way better than the other stuff. It seems like it's got a finer grit to it.
What kind of speed do you turn buff on that? Low?
I do about 300.
Oh, no,
Slow.
slow.
So I use it for buffing pen blanks, which are acrylic, and it seems to work good for me.
Okay, thanks. How about axe? If I use axe on the polishing,
I don't know. I've never used it.
no,
For a wax, Steve?
on top of the polycrylic. The
Uh,
scratch.
I don't like it as much as I do as the Hampshire Sheen. I think the Hampshire Sheen is a much better wax.
Well,
That's pure carnauba, right, Joaquin?
I don't know what Scott puts in it. I mean, Martin puts in it. It's a mixture that he makes. And
that's completely certified food safe also.
yeah, and it really, boy, two coats of that.
Oh,
It doesn't smear your hands. It doesn't smear at all.
No,
But,
it's really fingerprint proof.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, it's a really good wax. I really like it.
Must be some kind of crystalline wax and it hardens.
I think it's a part carnauba, part microcrystalline wax. Yeah.
yeah, I think
Then he
so.
sells a pure micro, I can't even say that word, micro wax also. Crystalline. Yeah, he sells he sells a pure one of those, plus he sells his one that's the mix. So
Yeah. Yeah, Scratch Free has got a compound out, a great abrasive compound, and I forget the girl's name. She was using it to do her acrylic pens, and it's 3 different cans. One's 3,000, then 6,000, and then I think one goes up to 10,000.
Yeah.
That I used without using the micro mesh, and it was okay. It was quicker, but it didn't have the pop that the 12,000 micro mesh had.
yeah, when
I've
it
been
comes to
dabbling
polishing
into this.
acrylic, oh yeah. When it comes to polishing acrylic, I like to use the mesh, the micro mesh pads instead.
Yeah,
I
I
did
went
too.
back to them, Scott.
What's that?
I went back to the micro mesh.
Yeah, I like this plastic. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it seems to be the best thing I found besides the micro mesh. It's the closest to it.
Yeah.
I also been playing with a little crystalline Renaissance wax.
Oh yeah, yep. That's been around forever.
Yeah, and that's a micro crystalline formula. I've been just started using it. It seems to be pretty nice.
Yeah, that stuff people used to. They probably still do. They use it on furniture. That's where it started at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I started reading about it. Was in the
They
furniture
used to
world.
sell it in big tins and stuff, and furniture makers would just rub it into the furniture.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't say you need to put anything over underneath it. It dries hard, it says.
Well, hopefully most waxes are supposed to dry hard if they're going to be used on any kind of wood product.
And it even says it doesn't show fingerprints. I've liked it so far as much as I've used it. I seem to like it, but it's terribly expensive.
Yes, that stuff is real expensive compared to others.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 7 fluid ounce container is like $30. It's really, but it seems to go a long ways. It doesn't seem like you need much of it.
No, you shouldn't have to use very much of it at all, really.
Is that a soft paste?
Yeah. Here's what it looks like in the can.
Yeah, it's white in the can, but it's clear when it goes on.
Yeah, it turns clear once you start wiping it on. It's got a pretty distinct odor too, until it dries. Once it's dry, it loses that smell.
Yeah, it flashes off.
Yeah, it's whatever in it that flashes it off.
It's the dryers that are in it, I think, the hardeners.
Yep. Comes from England, so it can't be anything too dangerous. They're pretty fussy.
Yeah.
Martin Clarkson's not on here yet, is he? Might get in trouble for that. Floor polish. Something else you might try, Stephen, is floor polish, because they use polyacrylic on floors, on hardwood floors.
Oh, really? Floor
Yep.
polish.
I was just thinking about that. I did help my brother-in-law do refinish his hardwood floors. And I think what we put on for the finish coat was polyacrylic. I don't know if that would take out your scratches though. Your brush strokes.
It's more of a brush strokes than scratches.
Yeah.
And I
I
tried
don't
to
think,
put it real thin, but it's still. I kept the lathe turning, hoping that it wouldn't drip.
yeah.
But I guess if you see a brush mark, it's probably too much to buff out anyway.
Right. I think Joaquim's right. I think you gotta take 1200 grit pads and polish it out.
Yeah.